Hello and welcome to Sports Opinion, the weekly sports talk show on Channel 18. That is public access TV. My name's Dirk Keller, and the gang is all back together. It's about time.
We're here together.
You've been on assignment in South Carolina, scouting the Southeast Conference for Kirk.
Yeah. That's right.
How was your trip?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was good.
Warm?
You know, we were down there for 14 days. And the daily high was between 45 and 75 in that period of time. So
that's quite a variation.
Quite a variation. More so than normal.
We would have taken that here.
But it was sunny.
Yeah.
You missed some real cold up here.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Well, I got back for the cold and
cold wind.
Bob Boyd, by the way, everybody. Bob Boyd.
Oh yeah, that's
welcome back.
Yeah,
welcome back.
You.
Pat White is here with us. We're
Glad
always
to
happy to have Pat. And, of course, Earl Murphy. Earl, the one and only Earl Murphy.
Him.
Hey, God.
We're back.
Earl the Pearl.
Dirk is healthy.
I was sick last week along with my little kids and didn't feel like sharing that with you all. And that's okay. We got to run the Tom Kakert show once again. And that was all about recruiting. And today is the National Letter of Intent signing day for high school seniors. And the Hawkeye football team got a nice haul. The basketball team, we don't want to forget, also got their lone recruit from Des Moines, Peter Jock, to sign. His letter is in.
He is really good.
Yeah. Shooter, ball handler.
I know he's a shooter.
Floor general.
Was he not signed before?
See, I did not realize that he was not signed.
He was not.
I didn't either. I mean,
well, now, you know.
Because he would have been a fall signee, typically.
He would have signed in November, wouldn't he?
You're probably right, Pat. I trust your judgment.
I mean, they've all talked about him, and they couldn't do that unless they had his letter of intent.
Well, we got him anyway.
We got him. Yeah. And I've got a list of all of the high school seniors who signed and sent their letters in today. There are a total of 20. Okay. One is missing, and we'll talk about him in a minute, but I thought I'd just start at the top.
Okay.
And it's alphabetical order. Nathan Bazada, who is a defensive tackle, 6'2", 275 pounds. And I don't have where they're from.
He's from Nebraska.
He's the Nebraska kid. Okay. Ike Betcher, tight end, 6'5", 220.
Cedar Falls.
Yes. LaShun Daniels, running back, 5'11", 220 pounds.
Warren, Ohio.
Gosh. Colin Gable, offensive lineman, 6'4", 275 pounds.
Someplace in Illinois.
Is he the Carroll Stream? 220.
220. Oh,
running back. I'm sorry.
No,
offensive line. 6'4", 275. You're right. Colin Gable. Brant Gressel, defensive tackle, 6 feet 2 inches, 280 pounds. Andre Harris, who's listed as an athlete at 5 feet 11 inches tall and 157 pounds.
Oh, that's small.
Ooh, that's small.
Yeah.
He must be a receiver.
He's an athlete.
Okay.
He's an athlete. So he could be a receiver. He could be a defensive back.
DB, okay. Yeah.
Josie Jewell, linebacker, 6 feet 2 inches, 200 pounds.
He's from Decorah. I really like him.
I like the name.
I liked him as a running back. I don't know what kind of linebacker he'll be.
Wasn't he 3A Player of the Year in Iowa?
I think he was.
I think that's right. It sounds familiar.
Channel 9's Player of the Week once.
All right.
But
he looked real good.
Looked real good.
Yeah, a lot of people are high on him on
Is he
Hawkeye
6'2",
Report. No.
200 or 6'4"?
They listed at 6'2", 220.
6'2", 200 is what I have here.
Okay.
6'2", 200 pounds.
All
He'll
right.
grow.
Nice build.
Next is, I don't know how to pronounce this, Anjus Jones, Anjeus. Anjus Jones.
Anjus.
Wide receiver, 6 feet 3 inches tall, 195 pounds, excuse me.
Texas.
He's from someplace in Texas. He was the one who had verbaled to Colorado State.
Oh,
that's right.
That's the one, okay.
That's right.
What is
Nice
he?
size.
He
nice
is
size.
6 feet 3 inches,
Receiver.
195-pound wide receiver.
Okay.
That's good size for a wide receiver, real good size. John Kenny, a linebacker, 6 feet 2, 210 pounds.
Indianapolis?
He's not the kid.
No, he's not. They were both from Indianapolis.
Is that
But I
right?
think you're right. He's from Indiana.
Oh,
and
is he the one from?
he's on campus.
He's from Carmel.
Yeah, he's from Carmel.
Yeah.
where my sister lives. That's
He
right.
started school here in January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Desmond King, defensive back, 5 feet 11, 185 pounds. Derek Mitchell, an athlete at 6 feet, 185 pounds. I'm not sure where he's from. Jonathan Parker. This was a big one. This is the kid from St. Louis who
he's the
committed to
last one.
Tulsa.
Yes, running back.
And he switched last night. Well, we didn't know until this morning, actually, where he was going. But he's a running back, 5 feet 10, 180 pounds. I watched video of him,
Yeah.
and he is fast.
I'm wondering if that's what happened to the kid from New Jersey whose letter we don't have yet, that, who maybe said, they've got, I would be the third freshman running back, and they've already got,
Could be.
I think, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be.
Well, keep an eye on Jonathan Parker.
Okay.
Another kid from St. Louis. It seems every year we get somebody special from St. Louis. Damone Powell, wide receiver, 5 feet 11, 175 pounds.
He's the junior college transfer from
That's the one.
Snow Junior College, Snow
Now-
Valley, and he originally from Toledo.
Does he have 3 years?
3 years to
Yeah,
play,
He's got
yeah.
3 years.
Isn't he the one that has some pretty impressive statistics?
Yes, average 30 yards per catch.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
In college.
He's actually got 4 years to play 3, but I think their hope is that he'll be in the lineup
He's expected to step right
when
in.
we play on August 31st
Yeah.
against Northern Illinois.
But he's 5'11",
5'11", 175 pounds. Damone Powell.
speedster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Malik Rucker is a defensive back, 6 feet, 175 pounds. I think he's from Jersey, isn't he?
Oh,
Let's see. I've got some more
no, I don't
information
think
on
he's
some of
from
these
New
kids.
Jersey, but I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Malik Rucker is from New Hope, Minnesota. He has the size for either corner or safety, but will start his career at cornerback. He loves contact and could potentially play free safety with fellow defensive back recruit Solomon Warfield fitting in at strong safety. We haven't gotten to Solomon yet, but we will. That's Malik Rucker from Minnesota. Nick Shimonek is a quarterback out of Texas, Corsicana, Texas. 6 feet 4, 205 pounds. He's a pro-style quarterback. He sent his in about 10 o'clock this morning. The big one, the one we really needed, we got. Reggie Spearman
Yep.
out of Chicago, Simeon High School. It's been a long time since we've gotten a Simeon High School product. Now,
It's mostly a basketball school.
right, and Chicago Public Leagues are not known for their
Yeah.
football standouts because most of them get the heck out of town and go to one of the suburbs or one of the private schools.
Eddie Phillips didn't.
That's right. Reggie Spearman is 6 feet 2 inches, 219 pounds, and he is strong, he is fast, and he is fierce.
And he's a linebacker, which we
Yes.
Yeah.
And apparently a bit of a jokester.
Oh, is he?
At his,
yeah.
his press conference announcing where he was going to go, he started out by putting on a Syracuse hat and drug it out a little
that.
bit.
I don't like that at all.
that either. And then took it off and put on a Hawkeye hat.
Now, the one thing he did say at his news conference
Yes.
is that he is coming to Iowa. When asked why, he said to win a national championship.
Yeah.
I like that. Of course, the last person to say that is a high school senior.
So he's also delusional then, right?
Well, the
It's tough to
quarterback
do.
we got from Illinois
Yeah.
said the same thing. Jake Christensen.
Oh, yeah.
We'll forget about that.
That was 05, right?
That was a while ago.
Yeah, 05 or 6.
Solomon Warfield is a defensive back at 6 feet tall and 170 pounds.
Hope his dad is Paul.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Well, they're both from Ohio, aren't they?
Yeah.
Might be related.
Could be related.
He is, let's see, where is he? So I don't have it. Doggone it.
Warfield. Okay.
Okay, Solomon Warfield. Then we have Sean Welsh, an offensive lineman at 6 feet 3 inches, 275 pounds.
Ooh, nice size.
Derek Willies is a wide receiver, 6 feet 3 inches and 195 pounds. Again, another good-sized wide receiver. That's encouraging.
He played in, what, Rock Island last year?
Yes.
Burlington before that?
Is that who he is? Okay. Then we have John Wisniewski, tight end, 6 feet 5 inches, 215 pounds.
He's from Des Moines.
Darling.
Oh, that's the big kid, yeah.
The Dowling Valley game was on basketball game was on Mediacom a couple nights ago, and I watched because I wanted to see Peter Jock. And here's this bruiser standing in the middle, who's Wisniewski.
How'd he do?
He did great. He just looks very impressive. He looks like he could put on pads and start at tight end right now.
And how about Peter Jock? How'd he do?
Oh, he is
great.
Is he the real deal?
He shoots better than anybody we got on our team right now.
Anybody.
He's 6'6".
Yes.
Stands beyond the three-point line,
And so-
rises up and drains it.
Yes.
And makes his free
I was
throws.
watching the same game.
It's maybe not the greatest defensive player yet.
Well, I don't know.
Not
Well,
worried
now
about
that-
defense right now.
How's his quickness look
I
with
think
the
it looks
recovery from
okay.
his
I mean-
surgery?
He brings the ball down the floor.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Looks pretty quick.
Quite some at the point.
It's going to be interesting to see how Fran fits all these kids in there
boy.
with Utah and Meyer coming on board. We're only losing Eric May. It's going to be interesting to see if everybody sticks around. It usually isn't the case. So we'll see.
That's
We're waiting to hear from Akram Woodley, 5'10" running back, 180 pounds, from Newark, New Jersey. He's the one kid who didn't send anything out yet.
But wasn't he the one that committed to, was it Temple or Rutgers? And then decommitted
Temple.
and said he was coming here,
Right.
right?
Right.
So he's the question mark.
Yep.
Everybody else is signed.
Yeah, and that's as of noon on Wednesday, today.
February 6th.
I think I left the office at about 10:30, so there was nothing new when I checked.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to wait and see. A couple of highlights here. Colin Gable from Naperville, Illinois, is an offensive lineman who has position flexibility that can make him one of the more valuable recruits in this class. He played in the International Bowl on Tuesday night, along with Iowa wide receiver Derek Willies. I mentioned Colin Gable from well, golly,
What's he play if he doesn't play that place?
I don't know.
Okay.
Colin Gable, 6'4", 275 offensive lineman. His size is legitimate. He's been locked in with Iowa since April of last year.
Wow.
He has potential for the guard or tackle position and is a potential 30-game starter. I don't know how they figure that, but that's what they said. Reggie Spearman, like I said earlier, strong, fast, fierce linebacker. Has the ability to rush the passer and play in pass coverage.
He had offers from Syracuse, Iowa, Minnesota,
Illinois. He
and
committed to Illinois and
Yeah.
then flipped, and then at the last minute, Syracuse got in with a high school classmate and friend of his.
Okay.
Was that the connection?
Yeah. Now, there's also some scuttlebutt about one of our lead recruiting coaches, Lester Erb. Word has it that he's going to end up at Syracuse. That he's, yeah.
Well, they're putting a new staff together out there because their coach went to the NFL
Yeah.
with
Philadelphia?
I think you're right.
yeah.
Yep.
But one of the reasons Spearman was important in the scheme of things, I mean, not necessarily just individually, but we're going to start 3 senior linebackers,
Yep.
and so we need to beef up our linebacking core down the road.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, Hawkeye Report has also given us what they call a couple of hidden gems. First is on offense, tight end John Wisniewski from West Des Moines Dowling, 6'5", 215 pounds.
And he looks good. Just
Didn't he?
oh,
Big body with excellent tight end skills.
Good
well,
hands.
both those players.
That's the guy you saw on TV playing basketball.
Yeah,
You-
right.
Yeah, okay.
He is ranked as the number 21 tight end in the country.
Why they know?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
21's pretty
high.
good.
Yeah.
He is
With
just
I don't
under.
think we have anybody else ranked that high.
No.
Yeah,
In
that's
fact, we have no 4 stars or 5 stars.
We have some 3 stars, right?
We have a lot of 3 stars, and he came closest to being a 4-star. John was, I don't know if it's Wisniewski, Wisnieski.
There's no end toward the end, and so that's what makes it,
Yeah.
people stumble over the pronunciation.
So you say we have a lot of 3. What do we have?
He's
3
the
stars?
hidden gem on, well, pretty much all these guys are 3 stars.
Okay.
He had a lot of Iowa State family connections, too, and
Oh, he
he
did?
was pretty well locked in with us, going back 6-9 months.
Yep. On defense, our hidden gem is cornerback Malik Rucker. He's the 6'5", 175-pounder from New Hope, Minnesota.
Not 6'5".
6 foot, 175. Sorry.
Okay.
He has size for either position. I think I already mentioned this. He loves contact. Let's see. Immediate impact players. Again, according to Hawkeye Report. On offense, wide receiver Damone Powell. He is the transfer from Snow College, junior college, I should say.
Yes.
In Utah. He's a Toledo, Ohio native who didn't get the offer he wanted coming out of high school, so he spent 1 year at Snow College, where he led the nation with 30 yards on 41
It's hard to imagine
receptions.
30 yards of reception.
Yeah.
As an average,
Average.
Jeez. He led the nation. Now, I did not know
Yeah.
that till you read it.
yeah.
I had not heard that.
Yep.
That's it. Good.
Then on defense, the immediate impact player is going to be cornerback Desmond King, the 5 feet 9 inch tall, 185-pound Detroit, Michigan Crockett High School product. He is the one who set a Michigan prep record with 29 career interceptions. And it's in a Detroit conference that's known for rushing the football. He's not the tallest and he's not the fastest, but clearly has instinct
Do you
for the
suppose
game.
Michigan passed on him?
Yeah. They probably had their fill.
Yeah, his offers were not Michigan or Michigan State.
Yep.
They were
Is that
smaller.
right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, his height probably
Western
hurt
and
him.
Eastern Michigan and
Is it,
some other
how
MAC
tall is he?
school.
5'9",
Okay, well,
But
which means he's
uh,
probably 5'8".
But one of the
Yeah.
reasons that they would pick him for somebody to watch is that we have a history of playing true freshman defensive backs
Yep.
on the kickoff team, where they occasionally make their mark by
Yep.
getting downfield quickly
Bob
and
Sanders.
making a tackle. This year, Draper and Buford both played a lot as
Yeah.
true freshmen on the kickoff team and showed some ability.
And it says here on Hawkeye Report that Iowa always seems to have a true freshman break through in the secondary, and he's the one. Again, his name is
Okay.
Desmond King. Then I have all the walk-ons.
Preferred one.
Preferred walk-ons.
Yeah, there's a
Correct.
difference, isn't there?
There is a difference. Number one, and again, well, these aren't in any particular order at all, but number one is Aiden Hafer, 5 feet 10 inch, 213-pounder out of West Des Moines and Iowa Central Community College. He's a kicker. I'm sorry, I meant to mention that. He's a kicker. Another preferred walk-on is wide receiver Andrew Stone, 5 feet 10 inches, 175 pounds from Cedar Falls, Iowa, by way of Iowa Western Community College. So we've got a couple of other junior college transfers. And Iowa Western Community College is the premier junior college football team in the nation right
Didn't
now.
they win the
lot of-
championship
A
this
lot
year?
of signees.
Yeah, they're big time.
Where did their quarterback sign, or do we know yet?
Don't know.
He was talking about going to Penn State or somebody else.
Yeah, where did he sign? I don't know. It's a good
Well,
question.
we may not have heard yet.
Well,
I
Penn
did.
State got one of the number one, or one of the top quarterbacks of the country.
Oh, they did. Ohio State hauled in a bunch of people today. Several they weren't
Oh.
expected to get. People who flipped today
Really?
and went to Ohio State. They have the number one ranked recruiting class in the nation. Alabama's right up there, and then surprisingly, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Ole Miss got
Yeah.
3 kids who were ranked #1 in the nation at their position.
Wow. They're building a program.
Yeah, I guess they have a very dynamic, outgoing coach who connects with the kids, and so they're going to see the benefits of that. Maybe. We never know.
Well, I heard some NFL or some, I can't remember who it was, on the radio yesterday talking about these college programs and the ratings of all these. And he said, in comparison to all these head coaches, the best closer is Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Which kind of indicates maybe he was right compared to what, I mean, considering what you just said about
He has a
them
great
getting some
personality,
signees they
you know
didn't
that.
expect,
Yeah, he's pretty dynamic.
apparently.
He's loaded, and Ohio
Wow.
State's loaded for bear. Hate to say it, but it's true. Another preferred walk-on.
Don't we take them on our schedule next year?
Yes, yes, we do.
We play at
We
Columbus.
go to Columbus next year, and then they come here the year
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, we'll get them.
I hope we don't beat them too bad.
Yeah, we'll take it easy on him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Long snapper Tyler Kluver from Marshalltown, Iowa, 6 feet, 220 pounds, is a preferred walk-on. And we know this name, defensive lineman Corbin Blythe. He has a brother on the team. He is 6 feet 1, 235 pounds from Williamsburg, Iowa. We also have offensive lineman Boone Myers, 6 feet 5, 255 pounds from Webster City, Iowa.
I am, isn't he?
He's an offensive lineman, but you never know. He
Yeah.
could become a tight end. At linebacker, Chad Gilson, 6 feet, 223 pounds from Urbandale.
How many of these preferred?
He is a transfer from UNI.
Oh,
How about that?
I wonder if he played at UNI. Do we know?
I doubt it.
Well, you know, you take those transfers like that, like Tom Hayes. He was a transfer, and he played right away, and he played really good.
Well, I hope that turns out for Chad Gilson.
That's Eddie Podolak's brother-in-law.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At linebacker, we have Drake Kulik, 6 feet 2, 205 pounds from Muscatine. At wide receiver, we have Connor Keene, 6 feet 1, 185 pounds from St. Paul, Minnesota. He is going to walk on. We have a safety, Paul Brown, at 5 feet 10 inches tall, 195 pounds from Spirit Lake, Iowa. And then this was really interesting. Linebacker Bo Bauer from West Branch.
What?
He had a full ride scholarship offer from UNI.
He doesn't
Yeah.
go as running back, huh?
Well, he's listed as linebacker. He was a heck of a running back. 6 feet 2, 208 pounds.
Perfect.
And then we have defensive end Jake Hewlett, 6 feet 3, 235 pounds from Springville. That's where they play 8-man football. And he's going to be a preferred walk-on. And then finally, safety Kevin Ward, 6 feet 1 inches tall, 185 pounds from New Lenox, Illinois. That's Providence Catholic High School. And they always put out a lot of good athletes. Isn't that where, is that where Bielema is from?
No,
No?
I think so.
he was from Prophetstown.
Prophetstown, thank you. There we go. Okay, so that is the rundown here on National Letter of Intent Signing Day.
You know, I had no idea they were bringing on that many preferred walk-ons. And listening to that list, and Pat addressed it earlier, there's several linebacker types there, so they didn't maybe get what they wanted at linebacker.
Yeah. Defensive end,
Defensive
I think,
end
too.
were, that's.
I don't think they had anybody listed at defensive end, did we?
You had one of the walk-ons, one of the last
Right.
ones from Springville.
Right.
Well, we got a kid last year from Nebraska that made first team event about the last game. I think his name was Ash or something like that.
Ott.
Oh,
Drew Ott.
Yeah,
Drew
Ott,
Ott,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
He came along real good.
We had some injuries at defensive end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was kind of surprising as a true freshman. The first time he played was the Northwestern game, which was like the 7th or 8th game of the year.
Yeah.
But they were struggling at defensive end, and we were getting burned.
Yeah.
Had been all year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And did at Northwestern. their quarterback would fake into the line, and our ends would watch him go around him for 10 or 20 yards. And so they pulled the red shirt off of Drew Ott and put him in, even though it was late in the year.
Yeah.
We needed him.
He did all right.
Yeah.
Another thing about positions here that you didn't read any fullbacks,
No.
which
Yeah.
in our system is really important.
Yeah.
And so you were talking about Bo Bauer as a running back. I mean, he's the sort of person
Yes.
who, once you get into practice,
Yeah.
it's not impossible that they
Yeah.
decide to make a fullback
Real
out
good
of
point,
somebody
Pat.
like that.
Yeah.
Real good
Or,
point.
and Josie Jewell would be another one with similar, played offense and defense, and they list him
6'2",
as a
200
linebacker.
pounds,
But
Yeah.
He sounds like a Western gangster.
doesn't he?
Yeah.
I love that name.
The outlaw Josie
Yeah,
Jewell.
gunslinger. Should be a quarterback.
Dying ain't no way to make a living, boy. All right.
Make my day.
Yeah. We got some basketball to talk about.
All right, good.
Not much of it good either.
I'm not very good at this.
The Iowa men's and women's basketball team hit the skids on Sunday, almost at the same time. Again, thanks to the Big Ten for scheduling both of our basketball teams on the same day at the same time. You know, last Saturday, there was only one men's Big Ten basketball game being played. And it all gets back to TV and who has the rights and who wants
Oh, yeah.
the Big Ten where. So essentially, the Big Ten has become a Sunday basketball league. The men went up to.
Well, it's become a Monday through Sunday
Well, that's
basketball
for
league.
sure.
I mean, there's at least one game
Yeah.
virtually every night.
Well, the men went up to Minnesota and played what I think Minnesota was ranked 24th. Had a horrid start, got down 14-2 again, and then fought back and had the
Again.
lead. And
They came back pretty well.
yeah, and they had the game in hand, and then they didn't, and they lost.
Well, they had a 4-point lead with what, a minute 10 left or something like that.
How
Yeah.
can we win when Devin Marble doesn't score?
We don't.
That's a good question.
We don't.
Can't
Simple.
answer.
And that's just almost unbelievable.
One of the problems we seem to have is Marble and White, our two top scorers, they don't seem to play together on the same night, you know, and you can't afford, and we can't afford to have one of them take the day off.
Yep.
Throwing out of bounds, you know, just,
Clearly, Marble's been hurt.
yes, we know that.
Fran keeps saying that he's okay.
Yeah.
I ain't buying it.
Something's
out of
not
whack.
going- Yeah.
For him to not score, our leading scorer.
Well, and you know what? Total minutes, he only played about 16 minutes
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't understand why Fran put him back in the game
at that time.
At that time, because
Well,
he hadn't
here's,
played.
here's why. He's been our best
Right.
shot creator. He's more than anybody else on the team. He can take the ball and find a way to get near the basket or free himself up for a three-pointer. He's the best shot creator we've got.
Yeah.
True.
But given that situation, when he hadn't scored all day, when he really hadn't contributed on the positive side all day, to put him in, I thought was questionable at the time.
And you've been
Live.
sitting on the bench for quite a
Right.
few minutes at that point.
I would still use White, shoot that shot.
And I've seen it before. What was the close game we lost at home? Michigan State?
Yes. by
And
3.
Marble missed that shot at the end, and I thought White had been hot that game. And why didn't we go to White? And he was open in the corner.
He missed the one at Purdue, too.
Was that the one? I might be thinking of that game.
Could have won
That was the
he
game.
Well,
drove in and put up about a 10-foot shot. That
No
was just off the
backboard.
mark.
Yeah.
well, and you know, you take Purdue again ahead by 4 with a little over a minute left, like Minnesota. This team hasn't learned how to close.
Right.
They haven't learned how to start, but I think that's because they're young.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
And hopefully they're learning from these disappointments that they've had. But you know, one of these games we got to turn it around, or this is an NIT team.
Oh, it's. I think
Which
it's
is
an
looking
NIT
like
team.
it's- yeah,
I,
yeah.
I think that's.
And there's nothing
where we are.
wrong with
Well,
that. But
There's still hope.
We're
There's
halfway
still
through the season, through the
that-
Big Ten season.
to the extent it can in the Big Ten, which is very tough, the schedule improves.
Yes.
We don't see
Yes.
Michigan again.
The
I
conference
don't
record
think
is
we
3-6.
see Ohio State again. We do see Indiana. at
But you don't see
Bloomington.
Michigan State again either.
Right.
So the 3 of the top 4 we don't see again.
It
Right.
could happen.
I think we can run with Indiana too.
Well, we certainly did here, but in
Over there, I
Bloomington,
don't know.
it's
And they're ranked #1 in the nation
a different
again.
story.
But I do think we match up with them. I do.
They
And,
just have better players than we do
Yeah.
right now.
Right.
Their best player may be Oladipo, who's doing everything.
He's good, isn't
Yeah.
he?
Oh, my goodness.
quite an athlete.
Ooh. Where'd he come from?
You know, I don't know where he's from.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you.
Well, the other thing is too, when we get in these tight games, we're not, our shooting percentage on free throws is really poor. Now we go Penn State, a game that we should win. It was probably closer than it should have been. We go 31 out of 39 free throws.
Yeah.
We get against Purdue and Minnesota, and it's more like what, 58, 60%? Does anybody remember?
No, but it was bad. And we don't shoot free throws on the road well. We don't
Yeah.
play well on the road. We don't start well on the road either.
But we're sure playing a lot better defense this year.
I think defense is keeping us in a lot of
Yeah,
games.
yeah. That's a huge improvement over last year, and that was certainly
Well,
one
and-
goal that Fran had was to improve on that.
I think our best
dramatically.
defensive players from Sioux City. He's a 6'7".
McCabe?
McCabe?
He's good.
He-
And he's not fouling. He used to always, every game, he'd
Yeah.
have some dumb foul, but he hadn't been doing that.
Well, and he hit some key threes against Minnesota.
Yes,
Well, you
he
tell-
did.
Yeah, we had, what, 7
gutsy.
threes that we actually made
He's a
against,
gutsy
Well,
basketball
I
player.
look
against against Minnesota?
Yeah. I look at Zach McCabe and his willingness and his ability to not only put up the three, but make the three-pointer at his size.
Yeah.
And then I look at Oglesby, and he gets the ball in position to put up an open three, and he passes it off, or he
Yeah.
fakes. And it's really starting to drive me nuts. I just don't get it.
His year has just been terrible. I mean, this is amateurish shooting analysis. I'm not a basketball coach, but every time he shoots, but he passes up shots, but then every time he shoots, it's a different shot.
Yes.
He's holding the ball different. He's releasing it different. There's just no consistency to the pattern of his shot.
I
And
heard
you
the
can
coaches
tell.
refer to it as floating.
Yeah.
You can
I don't know
tell
what's that meaning.
as soon as he releases the ball, it's not going in because it looks different than the last shot, like Pat said.
Sometimes
There's no
he takes it
uniformity.
clear back
Yeah,
over his
uh-huh.
head, which,
Yeah.
I mean, I watched him shoot in high school. He never did anything like that.
No.
He would go straight up and release and drain it.
And I understand if there's somebody guarding him close, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about getting the ball and open at three-point distance and passing it up or head faking.
Well, a lot of it's mental, guys.
It's
It
totally
certainly
mental.
isn't. I mean, Fran keeps saying he's just killing it in practice,
Yeah.
making all of them.
I'm getting tired of hearing that,
I
quite
don't know
frankly.
You know,
I
one
don't
thing
know
I
what
thought about too, there's a big difference between practicing on the main floor, and I don't know, and the new Carver gyms that they had, built here recently,
Yeah.
because there's a whole lot of difference in depth perception,
Oh, yeah.
and I just wonder how much practice they do on our main floor as opposed
Not
to
much.
the new gym.
They do some.
Yeah, but not. I don't think they do the shooting
I
practice.
think, I mean, Fran is, he's always been a stickler for closed practices, and it's a lot easier to close in
Oh,
the
yeah.
practice gyms than it is on the arena floor.
Well, I will, in Oglesby's defense, he had a decent game against Penn State. He hit some threes. He hit some threes against Minnesota,
Yeah.
but he
Yeah.
missed so many. And I just don't know that the positives outweigh the negatives at this point.
Fran, I'm sure his thought process is he keeps hoping, if it's true, and I don't have any reason to doubt this, that he's killing it in practice. Fran keeps hoping that somehow the switch will get turned on and he'll start killing it in the games. But
Do you think that him losing his temper once in a while has hurt him this year?
personally,
Yes,
yes.
I do too.
I mean, this is very amateurish psychology, but can't help but wonder if that's one of Marble's problems.
I think it is.
Fran just tore him apart in front of the whole arena
And he did
at
bump
the
it.
end of the Penn State
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Looked to me like he bumped him.
Since we talked Monday, I've seen it, and he did. And in fact, there are photos of it.
I mean, that photo makes him look like an ogre, which he's not.
No,
we
no.
all know he's not.
No, he's a nice guy.
But that photo is going to be out there forever for parents of recruits to look at, and
It ain't pretty.
I don't know. It's.
Yeah.
I just think he needs to work through some of that temper.
Yeah. The Hawks beat Penn State at home, lost at Minnesota. They're going to be playing
Boy, that
tonight
loss at
as soon
Minnesota
as this
was
program is over at 8 o'clock on the Big Ten Network at Wisconsin. It's going to be a tough test.
Oh God.
8 o'clock.
Do they want to beat us or what?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you think?
You know they do.
You know how much they've talked about how we booed Ben Brust in private. They won't talk about it in public, I'm sure.
Is that right?
Oh, sure.
Oh,
And we
Ben-
beat them twice last year.
Ben's
Yeah.
mom went a little berserk when
Why?
they
Why
played
did
here.
she?
Why
Yeah,
did
she
they
went
do it?
over to the
'Cause
student
he
section
originally
and went after
committed
some
here.
people.
Oh, he
Oh, you're
did.
kidding me.
Security had to
later
come and take
recruited him?
her out of there.
Did you hear that, fellas?
Yeah, Ben Brust's mom got Ben out of shape here at Carver Hawkeye.
Over the booth?
Went into the student section after a couple kids. And security had to come and get her back in her seat. And she didn't like it a bit.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
She
I
should have
think
got over there.
I think maybe it's a little much. It's 3 years. We decided to give him his release.
But it's more than that. It's not just Ben Brust. It's
Oh, the guy went to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Utah.
he had
and
signed
you know
a letter
that
of
whole- yeah.
intent
that's
with
right.
Iowa,
Yeah.
and then
We don't like each other.
Fran was hired.
Well, and now Utah has transferred
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
They can't be too happy about that.
But see, I'm
And
not happy
we've been
about the way.
fighting over the Bohannons for years.
You know they're not happy about it, but I don't like the way Wisconsin has handled it. They should never have been allowed, and I don't know why Gary Barta allowed them to
Well, he
break the rule in the Big Ten Conference.
He didn't. It was some sort of presidential committee that eventually ruled on.
But Iowa still had to say, okay, we release you.
Yeah, but that's pretty normal to
Yeah.
release from a scholarship when you change coaches.
But not to
But
another
not
Big
within
Ten school.
conference.
No,
Not
that's
within
right.
the
That's
Big
right.
Ten.
And that's what I don't like.
That's what I didn't like.
And then, after all that is said and done, Jared Utoff wants to leave Wisconsin and come to Iowa, and they put up a big stink about it.
Yeah.
That really rubs me the wrong way.
Exactly.
You know, it's resulted in the rules being changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't used to be able to get a scholarship. At
Yeah.
all. Remember Sam Oakey?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What could have been with him?
Yeah.
He was a great player for Wisconsin. And what did he play, 6, 7 games for Iowa, and then broke his leg?
Yeah. Well, we booed Jason Bohannon for 4 straight years.
We did.
Yeah.
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 And we're going to
We're going to
boo
move
Ben Brust for 4 straight
You know, there's
years.
another Bohannon coming
Yeah.
up at who's a freshman at Lindmark.
Yeah. I don't think he'll be coming to Iowa.
I don't know. We ought to be trying to recruit him. He looks awfully
I
darn
think
good.
I think Gordy has a bad taste in his mouth
Well,
for the Hawkeyes,
he may at this point.
for his alma mater. Oh well.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
Why does he have a bad taste in his mouth? He played 4 years.
because we booed his son for 4 straight years.
Yeah. And I think there was
It
some
all
other
started
stuff.
with a dispute with Alford, quite
Yeah,
frankly.
there was some other stuff with Alford,
Yeah.
and
When they were trying to recruit his oldest son, Jason,
yeah,
yeah.
who ended up being a star at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You know,
heck of a 3-point shooter.
yeah.
Yes, he
Doggone
was.
it. The men are at Wisconsin as soon as this program is over.
Okay.
And you can watch that on the Big Ten Network, if you're watching on Wednesday night, that is. And then the men will host Northwestern on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network.
We should have slept the week.
Be nice. Be nice. I'll tell you what, Northwestern has played awful well since we went in there and just dominated them in Evanston a couple weeks ago. They've done some big
They
things.
have,
I
yeah.
just don't get it. They went down to Illinois and won. That's not easy to do.
We can't do it.
Of course, everybody's beating Illinois right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, they only won 2 games.
Wisconsin just went to Illinois and won on Sunday. The Iowa women's basketball team The good news is they got ranked last week for the first time this year. The bad news is they went to Illinois and lost to a 500 club. And then they had Northwestern in town, a sub-500 Northwestern team. And we lost to them on a last-second play. A layup, uncontested layup.
With 1 second.
That was after a 15-point lead in the second half.
I don't give them that uncontested layups.
Well,
You were there, Pat.
I don't
Fill
know
us
that
in.
I'd describe it as uncontested, but there was a lot of matador defense being played when
What's that?
Ole.
people were
Ole.
waving at her and letting her go
Just
by.
move aside.
Oh,
Yeah, just step out of the way.
There were 3 or 4 players who had a chance to at least slow her
Oh,
down.
my God, yes.
Nobody did.
And the same thing happened on the play before that.
No.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Yeah, back to
Matador
back.
defense.
I thought it was more like back to back to back to back.
Well,
What, the
Seemed like
officials,
Yeah.
the shot was in the air when the horn went off and the lights came on. It was clear that it was going to be good. But
Yeah.
the officials came over to check the replay, but you could hear a pin drop in the arena. Well,
Because everybody knew it was going to count. didn't they?
everybody.
most of us knew
We
it was
knew.
Yeah.
good, and people were just, we couldn't believe it.
Well, we'd gone from hallelujah when Melissa Dixon hit a 2-pointer to tie the game with 4 seconds left, right in front of the Iowa bench. And it was real close to being a 3-pointer, but it wasn't.
It was a nice shot.
Yes, and if it weren't for Melissa Dixon, sweet Melissa, we wouldn't have been in that game because nobody else was hitting their
Well,
shots.
Johnson, they fouled her out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She played less than half the game.
Fouled out with
Again,
9 minutes to go.
We can't win when she plays.
No.
She played only 18 minutes.
And she
We're
plays
not designed to
She
win.
gives it her best.
And this is clearly critical of the officials, but I think she committed 3 fouls instead of 5. The last 2 were not fouls. The 5th one, she was standing absolutely still with her arms in the air and not moving.
Yep.
And they called her for a foul when the Northwestern player bumped into her.
Yep.
Just not a foul, not at all.
I am not
Yeah.
impressed with the Big Ten officials this year, men or women. That game up at Minnesota, did you know the men's game? Did you notice who the
Jim Burr was back.
Jim Burr, the guy who just is terrible. He's the guy who inbounded the ball while the other 2 refs were over at the scorer's table checking on a replay. This is a guy who has no clue and really has no business being a referee, and there he was up at Minnesota for the men's game.
I suppose he signed a contract for the whole year, but they could still bench him and pay him
Wait a
through the
second.
end of the year.
Wasn't
right.
there, didn't Olson have a problem with
Oh,
the Burr?
No,
Bain.
No, Bain.
Bain. I'm going, oh my God, this
This
is
guy's
not his
that-
son, I hope.
He's not that old.
Okay, okay. I thought maybe it was his son. I was getting Bain to Burr. Okay, I thought, all right.
and the women's refs, I don't get
Jim
it.
Bain.
That Northwestern game I thought was very physical. And they let so much go, and then they called
Yeah.
the ticky-tack
Well, the league
stuff.
has gotten so much more physical, both men and women. I mean, there's just so much grabbing and pushing.
Look what happened to Morgan at the last home game before Northwestern. She got a bloody nose. Was there a foul called on that?
No.
And I mean, it was a gusher. It she didn't stop. I don't think she got back in the game the rest of the first half.
Yeah.
Well, when Sam Logic got knocked down, was it at Purdue? They barely were going to call a foul on that. Lisa finally talked him into reviewing it.
Really?
Not at Purdue. Maybe
At Illinois?
no, when she got hit right in the nose and flattened.
Might have been Northwestern.
I forget where it was.
Well, anyway, it's the officiating needs to be worked out, right? They do review these things supposedly the next week, huh?
You know,
At
the
Big Ten,
men have
office.
changed their system. I don't know whether that's affected it or not, but they used to have somebody sitting in the stands making notes and sending in a report. They don't do that anymore.
Right.
Bob Oldus used to do it
Yes.
Yeah.
at Iowa for the men's games. Tom Stockman, who's an ex-official, does it for the women's game. The same system is in effect. I don't know if that's made a difference or not. They claim they review all the games in the Big Ten office.
Does Tom do it now?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Okay.
He's still charting every game.
Okay. For the Big Ten Network.
No, for
Or
the Big Ten.
office.
Big Ten office. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the women will play at Minnesota tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network, which is nice. I like that. And then on Monday next week, they will host Nebraska, who's really good. That also is going to be on the Big Ten Network at 7:30. Yeah, women.
Okay.
The women play on the road at Minnesota Thursday night at 7:30 on the Big Ten Network, and then again on Monday on the road. I'm sorry, here at home against a very good Nebraska team. That ought to be a really good game, again on the Big Ten Network.
You know, Nebraska hasn't performed as well as really, I think almost everybody expected them. They're still very good. They've still got their two outstanding all Big Ten players. But they're in the middle of the pack right now.
Are they two tall girls?
One is tall, one is a point guard.
Yeah.
Well, and last year, Pat, didn't Nebraska beat us 3 times?
Yes.
Yeah.
Twice in regular season and once in the tournament.
Good recall. Yeah.
Yeah. They did.
That's unusual.
I remember when they beat us here early in the season, and I came away thinking, wow, I didn't see that coming. That is a really good Nebraska team.
Yeah.
Jordan Hooper, who's their biggest star, is just really talented. She's like 6'5", 6'6", and she can go outside and drain a shot, or she can play inside, and got all sorts of post moves.
Yeah, and it's a big home game. University employees get in free, staff, faculty get in free. Is it a buck?
Buck night.
Monday night.
Monday night.
That'd be the 11th.
Turkey bobblehead night for the
first 1,000.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about next week. We might mention Midwest One Bank has purchased 2,500 tickets to the Valentine's Day Red for Women game on the 14th, and you can walk into any Midwest One
Is that
branch.
Saturday night? No,
Thursday night.
Next,
Valentine's
Thursday
Day.
the 14th.
Who do they play on the 14th then?
Penn State.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
Best team of the league.
Cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to see good.
Oh, we got a tough stretch coming, don't
Yeah.
we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We do.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
But we're capable. The last 2 games, we just haven't played well.
Yeah.
They remind me a little bit, you know, when you're on the interstate and somebody behind you just drives as fast as they can to pass you and pulls in front, then takes their foot off the accelerator.
Yeah.
I think we worked so hard to get range that once we got range, we thought we were there.
Yeah.
And we just lost a little of our fire.
We did on the road at Illinois, and I just never expected that against Northwestern. I knew they were a capable team, but wow.
Well, and who did we beat the Sunday before? I heard one of the coaches talking on the radio, and they were talking about, you know, going into February, we always play well in February, and I don't know, they said like the last several years in February, we're 31-6.
Yeah, great record.
And then we lose 2 in a row.
We've been good.
Right after that statement.
Yeah.
Now wow, that's pretty impressive.
It's still early. Again, halfway through the men's conference schedule. A little more than halfway through the women's conference schedule. Wrestling was exciting. There's a real positive. I was too sick to go.
15,077 people.
Isn't that something?
Number
Wrestling
one
meet.
ranked,
I think that's a
undefeated Penn State comes to town.
One of your favorite coaches?
Bale Sanderson.
Yeah.
You know what? I thought he handled himself with dignity while he was here the whole time.
Yeah, he did.
Not just what I saw on camera, but what I've read since the dual meet. He was pretty classy. He stopped and talked to fans during the practice time.
Yeah.
Went over to the students who were heckling him and talked, and just kind of let down his guard a little bit.
Yeah.
And I thought his wrestlers really handled themselves well. So many times when an Okie State or some other bad guys come to town to wrestle, they really react negatively towards the fans, and not one Penn State wrestler did that, and I was really impressed.
You know what I think it is? I think Sanderson respects the setting, the size of the crowd, the interest in wrestling.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
It is.
I saw him immediately after our 134-pounder pinned their guy, Tony Ramos. Cale Sanderson clapped.
Was that right?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not just talking about 1, 2. The camera angle had him squarely in the background as the pin, as the what did he use? Not a cow catcher. He used, I'm drawing a blank on the hold all of a sudden, but he flipped him over, pinned him. And the whole time the camera had Cale in the background standing up in front of the Penn State bench. And when the pin was announced, he stood there and, you know, he clapped. And I thought that was impressive. In his post,
He's a good wrestler. And he's good.
Oh, he's a terrific wrestler.
he always carried himself well as a wrestler. He never taunted the crowd or flexed or did any of this stuff. I really respected him as a wrestler.
Yeah.
I don't respect how he bailed out on Iowa State, but it is what it is. And, you know, I get why he did it. He was never going to be top dog in this state.
Yeah.
As long as he stayed in Ames. And he has turned around that Penn State program, which was no slouch.
Oh,
It's good before.
But he made them top dog, and they're going to be good for a long while.
Now, don't they have a wrestling or an arena just for wrestling there in Penn State?
I don't know if it's just for wrestling, but they have one that they wrestle in that holds like
It's
7,000.
7 or 8,000.
it's the old basketball arena.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
it only holds 7,000.
Okay.
And I heard Mark Ironside on the radio Friday night, basically being critical of Penn State because they could draw 15,000 when Iowa comes out there if they put it in the new Bryce Jordan arena. They don't want to. They don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
So they don't. They put it in the old. Oh, I forget what they called it.
Yeah.
Alumni Hall, I think it's called.
Okay.
And I think you remember before Bryce Jordan opened, when Penn State had their basketball games there, it looked like a high school gym, kind of like Northwestern, except smaller. So the wrestling Friday night was just one for the ages, and it killed me to not be there. But to watch it on TV was very fulfilling, and to listen to Mark Ironside while watching it on TV.
Is that what you did? Turn the sound down?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there was an 8-second gap, or 8-second delay.
TV was delayed?
Yeah, in TV.
and
I don't care.
15,000 people there. There was more people there for wrestling than there was for basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Penn State basketball game, men's game, had like 13-4 or something.
Well, they announced it at 13-4.
Right.
But
yeah.
There wasn't
Yeah.
nearly
There
as
wasn't-
many.
There were probably 9,000 in the arena. There weren't many no-shows unless you were deathly ill.
And it was
for the
cold
I
that
didn't.
night.
At supposedly announced
Yeah.
what? How do they say it?
Well, they
in the
announced
paper?
sold tickets.
Yeah,
Announced.
Yeah. They announced
sold tickets.
sold tickets, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're not. That's not the. They don't announce how many are scanned.
There weren't
in.
nearly that
Yeah,
many
I know.
there for the Penn State men's basketball
No.
game the night before.
Yeah, it was cold that night. I went to that
Oh,
one.
it was
yeah.
bitter.
Very cold.
You went to that game? You're a trooper. I'm impressed.
Well, you can, yeah, I'm not sure I'm very smart, but I was there.
Oh, that's
Did
impressive.
you stand in one place a long time?
I did, yeah. I didn't even know when the game was over, but I
Yeah, you're sick.
about fell asleep in the seats, too. It was pretty boring. It wasn't too exciting. That
It got too close. It should have
Well,
been a
it
blowout.
should not have been as close as it was. That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Well, the wrestlers are going to be on the road at Illinois this Friday night, and believe it or not, that game is going to be on the Big Ten Network. That dual meet. I'm sorry. The Mark Perry Jr. is the one of the coaches at Illinois,
Assistant coach.
and
Are they any
Assistant.
good?
Is it Heffernan who's the coach?
Heffernan, former Hawkeye Jim Heffernan.
Yeah.
That's right. I didn't know this, but when we went to the quarterback club on Monday, Tom Brands, the Hawkeye men's wrestling coach, he said, "Do any of you know that Penn State went to Illinois on Sunday and wrestles?" And everybody in the room, no. They won 37-0, 30-something to nothing
Yeah.
at Illinois, and
Skunked
that's just wow.
We must have made him
I don't think we're going to skunk
I'm sure we
Illinois.
made it.
Yeah,
Then on, let's see,
Sunday.
Sunday, the wrestlers will be home with Nebraska. And that meet will be on Mediacom's Connections 22 channel.
And they're usually pretty tough.
Well, I don't think they're very tough this year.
Okay.
But traditionally they have a decent wrestling program.
So it's Sunday afternoon?
Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Sunday at 2 o'clock. That will be live on Mediacom Connections.
Mm-hmm.
Friday night at 7 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. You could also do what I do, turn on Mark Ironside on KXIC with Stephen Grace. They do such a good job of describing what's going on and bringing down
He bothers me
emotion.
once in a while.
Yeah, he gets over the
He
top.
can get a little carried away.
He does. I think this year, the ones I've listened to, he's been good.
I don't watch him because
Yeah.
of that, but
Well, he was good Friday night. He was so, he was really into the emotion of the night, and he didn't let anything carry him away. And he has so much inside information about the Hawkeye Wrestling Room that it's
he
really
wrestles
worthwhile.
up there.
He's
good.
still up there,
Yeah, that's amazing.
rolling around with those kids. So
And he went and jumped in the water on Saturday
Oh,
morning,
my.
right? Didn't they?
I've seen some video of that.
Yeah.
That'd be cold.
Whoa.
It looked terrible, just terrible.
Oh, boy.
As Charles Oakley would say, that's just terrible. But I gave Ironside $50 for that.
What did they raise?
I did. They
You
raised.
know?
They set a new record. Was it 36,000? Last year they got 30.
Wow.
It's all going. The money that they do for this Polar Plunge goes to the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, and those are the kids who graduate from Iowa and want to continue to pursue wrestling on the Olympic level.
Yeah.
They raised a new record of 37,000, and that's a good thing. And then high school wrestling, state regionals have begun already.
Wow.
And believe it or not, the state tournament is next weekend. Next week, starting Thursday, championship being Saturday night, 6 p.m.
Not this weekend.
Not this weekend, but next weekend. So,
Okay.
yeah, Valentine's night will be the beginning of the state tournament in Des
Okay.
Moines for wrestling. And believe it or not, girls' state basketball tournament starts tomorrow. Not the tournament, but, well,
The
I'm from
regionals.
Illinois. We call everything postseason the
The
tournament.
boys start Monday night.
And then the boys Monday, yep. So regionals start Thursday for girls, tomorrow night, and then Monday for the boys.
Well, it
It's
seems
hard to
early,
believe.
doesn't it, for all, I mean, they've moved all that up, what,
I
a
think
week
it
or
is
so?
I think it's
Last
a
few
week
years.
earlier.
Is it?
Yeah, because
Last couple of years,
there's
yeah.
an NCAA event in Wells Fargo Arena sometime in March.
Yeah, it's the NCAA wrestling tournament.
Yes,
They
the Nationals.
had to move everything up to make room for
Is
it.
that
What
right?
weekend is that? Do we know?
It's usually the weekend
Third
on the
weekend?
tail end of spring break. So right after St. Patty's.
Say, didn't you agree that Tom Brands was in good spirits
Oh, yeah.
Monday?
Well, he just came off a signature dual meet victory over
Oh,
undefeated
he
number
was
one
funny.
ranked Penn State.
Quarterback club.
I thought so.
He's a
got
pistol.
great sense of humor, really. He's
He's a
speaker,
pistol.
Yeah.
Great speaker.
Yeah.
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 He's a great coach, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ran into your son, John Murphy, the next day at the post office, and we both agreed we could have listened to both those coaches
Yeah.
a lot longer
Oh, yeah.
than we did. That was
Sherman Dillard. for the
Sherman
men's
Dillard's really
basketball
special.
team, Yeah.
He's a funny joke talker.
Yeah.
Yes, he is, and he's a snappy dresser. Did you guys watch the game on TV, the Penn State game?
no, I was Penn State.
You were
I
at the
was
game?
there. I was at the
The
game.
watched
TV
it.
announcers, one of them was recruited by Sherman Dillard
really?
at Maryland.
Is that right?
And Sherman, I didn't know this, but he helped recruit Len Bias to Maryland.
Oh, wow.
And by golly, we're out of time. This is a fast show. I don't know. We had a lot to talk about with
Yeah.
recruits and basketball, and there's a lot going on out there. And it's time to get out there and support the high school teams, boys and girls, the wrestlers, the men's and women's teams, and the wrestling at Iowa. There's only a few home games left for everybody, so get out there and take it all in. In the meantime, I'm going to thank you for watching Sports Opinion every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. and every Sunday night at 6 p.m. on Channel 18. That's Public Access TV. On behalf of Bob Boyd, Pat White, Earl Murphy, I'm Dirk Keller, thanking you for tuning in. And remember this, either you're a Hawk or you're not. And if you're not, get out of here.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.